Welcome to GBALL VISION, everyone. I hope you are having a fantastic day today. We have an overview of the large pyrite from CJRB to do for you guys. And I have fallen in love with this thing. Now, I have a bunch of CJRB's recent button locks and their old ones. I pretty much have every single one except the Lago, I think it is, which I kind of plan on buying at this point because they are all spectacular. And I have to say that the Riff and the CJRB Large Pyrite here are two of my favorite button locks, period. Not just from CJRB, but just period. Definitely from the makers of CJRB and Artisan, but just all together, the Riff and Large Pyrite are my two favorite button locks. And I like the Riff because it's got the rear flipper tab and the fuller. And I like this one because it has the thumb studs. They both are drop point blades, and I do have a video coming. It will either be up shortly after this one or it's already up. But an overview of several of CJRB's recent button locks. And I have nothing but good things to say about this guy. There's only one knock that I have on this knife, and it's not really a knock. It's not really a con. We'll get it out of the way now. The only con I have of this knife is that they don't make a more premium version of this knife just yet. And I have to believe with all the pyrite hoopla that's going on and some of the other pyrites that are getting an upgrade, I have to believe this is going to eventually get an upgrade too. So with that being said, this thing is absolutely spectacular. I mean, especially if you have larger hands. The original pyrite, very good and makes a great EDC knife, but it doesn't quite stack up to the large pyrite, in my opinion. If you like a bigger knife, have bigger hands, the large pyrite is going to be a game changer. You just have a lot more handle, a lot more blade. It's a complete game changer when it comes to the drop point pyrite series. And I'm kind of expecting them to do a Warncliffe large as well. So we'll see about that. We'll see what happens. I think that they're going to do as much as they can with the pyrite series, large ones, different variations, different materials, that sort of thing. I think they're going to, you know, give it all that it's got, and they're going to put everything into it because it is such a successful design. I believe there's no reason for them not to do so. So we have 3 1/4 of cutting edge, actually a touch more, about 3 3/4 of total edge. And then you're coming in at about, it's a little over 8.5. I'd say like 9/16 or so. So you do have a nice sized drop point folding button lock knife here. And one of the main things that people typically will complain about with a button lock is that they don't quite have a detent, which they don't. They rely on the spring tension and the strength of that spring. And I have to say, guys, this thing has an exceptional spring style detent. It just thwacks out of there every single time. I love the shadow box look that the G10 kind of lays shy of the actual liners themselves. You have the RPM 9 Stonewash blade, which is Artisan's powder steel, which is the only steel that you can get in this price point that is powdered. You have a deep carry rollover clip, nice and deep carry too. This will be reversible for the lefties out there. It's a nice minimal design, very neutral, but it's so well done that it's gotten a ton of play from everyone throughout the knife community, knife enthusiasts, knife collectors. Doesn't matter. This thing has gotten a lot of play from a lot of people. You have a nice thin blade stock, which we can go ahead and check right now, because I don't know that I've checked this guy. So about 101 thousandths. We'll just pick a spot. Boy, that bad boy's coming down around 13 thousandths. Woohoo! And then you got about 0.41, 0.42 on the handle there. So it's not real thick, but it does have a nice wide handle, or it's not too wide. It's just perfect for large, extra large, even bigger size hands. I get a nice purchase on this thing, and I don't get any hot spots when really bearing down on this thing. You have a nice little choke up area here. It's not a full choke up, but for some fine detail work, you can slip the pointer finger in there. Might be a little tight, which a lot of us don't mind that. So you could do some nice precision work that way. The ergos are phenomenal. The aesthetic of this thing, it just looks awesome. And there's other flavors. I was kind of hell-bent on getting this one so I could match my original drop point. And this one, you know, it's really good. It is. But it just doesn't quite compare to this one all the way around. Just the size, the build, you know, the spring detent on the original is pretty good. It's pretty good, but it's not near as good as this big guy is. And I don't know if they drew it up a little higher because of the bigger blade, or if they're just getting better, or both. I'm not 100% sure on that, but they are just kicking ass and taking names. Let's go ahead and we'll throw up just a couple size comparisons. There's the original Pyrite, which is obviously going to be smaller. And there's the MBK full size old guard there, which it's quite a bit bigger than that. Why don't we bring out a full size Chavez? So the large Pyrite is even bigger than the Chavez. Now let's bring out the Brass Brigade gripper. And that is going to be a very close comparison. The gripper is. So it's a great size, in my opinion. Especially if you like a bigger knife, like I said, have a little bit bigger hands. This thing is going to do you justice, and I really hope that they intend on doing a large Wharncliffe version, because that would be phenomenal. Do a large Wharncliffe with premium materials. I hope they do some premium materials with this guy, and I will be all over it for sure, because I've had this since the week the originals dropped, and I've been raving about it since then. Back then, nobody was listening to me then, but I've been raving about the Pyrites for probably a year now, and I feel like that wasn't quite good enough. So if you have a Moyero, which tons and tons of people do, and you don't have the large Pyrite, there is the comparison of the Moyero from Migron up against the large Pyrite. You can see it's quite a bit bigger. Guys, this thing is exceptional. If you have not picked one of these up yet, for around $60 to $70, depending, I think it is very hard to beat if you want to get into a button lock. It meets all the criteria. It's nice and lightweight. It is nice and balanced there, right where you want it, right below the pivot there. Nice and comfortable, slicey, nice and thin. You know, good deployment options, good spring detent, uh, good action, aesthetics. The carry is good. The profile is slim. There's nothing that I do not like about this knife. And typically I can say a little something. You know, if I had to really, really nitpick this thing, you know, and they did hear what I've been begging people to do. If you're gonna put something on the front, make it small and towards the scales. You know, it's better than it being out here or up here, but I would still like to see that be gone completely. But we're getting extremely nitpicky at that point. You know, and all they have is the CJRB nice and small, and then the ARRPM9 there. And I think they still are putting some sort of code there for blade ID, I'm guessing, or something of that nature. But that's really the only nitpicks I have with this thing. And then that it just doesn't come with some better materials. And I put an asterisk on that because I have to believe they will be doing some upgraded materials on this guy. Like I said, guys, if you're looking to get a button lock and you want a good one, but you're not sure, the large pyrite, and they make different variations. I think they do an all steel one, different colored G10, maybe different colored ones. This is a winner, guys. Now the steel is going to be a little bit heavier than the G10 version, so if you want a little bit of heft, go with the steel. If you want it to be a little lighter weight, then go with this guy here, coming in at 3.8 ounces. I'm going to guess that the steel version will come in, you know, a little over 4, maybe like 4.1, 4.2, something of that nature. And I have the steel Warncliffe version, and I love it. The weight is great, and I think it would be great on this one too. The weight does not bother me. Like I said, had it not been for me having this exact one, I probably would have got this one in steel. So that'll wrap it up, guys. Give me a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button down below the video or click the GBALL Vision logo in the center of your screen. I will throw up 2 new videos. I definitely recommend going and checking those out. I love you guys. Thank you all, and I will catch you on the next one.